If you watch the last video all the way through, there's a good chance something shifted. Not excitement, not motivation, tension. Because once you understand how the system trains people to stay, there's a new problem you can't avoid. You can't unknow it. And now every day feels slightly heavier. Not because your life is bad, but because it's predictable. You start noticing the loops, same conversations, same stress, same rewards that never quite change your position. That's the moment most people do one of two things. They either numb themselves and go back to sleep, or they start looking for an exit. This video is for the second group, but I need to be clear before we go any further. There is no dramatic escape, there is no single leap, there is no overnight transformation. The system doesn't break all at once, it erodes quietly. And the people who actually leave don't look like rebels, they look boring. Because leverage is built in silence, not noise. So let's get something straight. Breaking the system's training does not mean quitting your job, it does not mean burning bridges, it does not mean risking everything on one move. That's emotional thinking. The system loves emotional exits because they fail loudly and reinforce fear in everyone watching. Real exits are invisible at first. They happen in parallel, and they always start the same way, by breaking the training loop. The training loop has three parts: time dependency, identity dependency, approval dependency. If you understand those three, you understand how people stay trapped even when they know better. Let's start with the first one. Time dependency. If your income stops when your time stops, you are time dependent. It doesn't matter how much you make, it doesn't matter how respected you are, it doesn't matter how skilled you are. If presence equals pay, you are still inside the system. Time dependency is powerful because it feels honest. You show up, you work, you get paid, it feels fair. But fairness has nothing to do with leverage. The system trains you to see time for money as moral. If you work harder, you deserve more. If you rest, you deserve less. That belief keeps you productive but capped. Because time is finite, you only get so many hours, so many years, so many chances to reallocate attention. That's why the first crack in the system is never rebellion. It's decoupling. You don't quit time-based income. You dilute it, you add a second stream that is not tied to your physical presence, not to replace your income, to change your psychology. Because once even a small percentage of your income comes from something you built once and didn't have to show up for again, your relationship with time changes. You stop seeing hours as your only asset. That alone breaks part of the training. The second dependency is identity. This one is deeper. The system doesn't just pay you, it names you. Your job title becomes your shorthand. Your role becomes your explanation. Your identity becomes legible and safe. People know how to place you. And once you're placed, expectations follow. You act a certain way, you speak a certain way, you want certain things. The system trains you to fuse who you are with how you earn. That's dangerous because when income and identity are fused, change feels like death. Leaving isn't just financial risk, it's existential risk. Who am I if I'm not this? That's why people stay even when they're unhappy. They're not afraid of losing money, they're afraid of becoming undefined. So the second break is identity separation. You stop tying your self-worth to your role. You build something where nobody knows your name, nobody cares about your title, nobody needs your approval. Faceless systems do this perfectly. No validation, no praise, just output and results. That's why so many people resist them. They feel cold. But cold systems are free systems. Once your income doesn't depend on being seen, liked, or validated, your identity loosens. You become portable. And portable people are hard to control. The third dependency is approval. This is the strongest one because even people who build side income still stay trapped if they need permission emotionally. They want reassurance, they want certainty, they want someone to tell them they're doing it right. The system trains approval dependency from childhood. Grades, reviews, performance metrics, annual evaluations. You're constantly being scored. So when it's time to build something on your own, the absence of feedback feels terrifying. No boss, no rubric, no gold stars, just silence. Most people mistake silence for failure, so they stop. Breaking approval dependency means learning to move without applause. You build before it looks impressive. You act before it feels safe. You trust patterns, not opinions. This is where most people stall. They consume, they research, they prepare. But preparation without execution is just fear dressed as intelligence. Leverage does not come from knowing. It comes from positioning. And positioning always looks underwhelming first. Let's talk about what this actually looks like in practice. Breaking the systems training is not about doing more, it's about redirecting effort. Instead of putting all your energy into maintaining your position, you put a portion into building something that compounds, something that can exist without you. That might be content, it might be software, it might be education, it might be automation. The form doesn't matter as much as the structure. Does it scale without proportional effort? Does it work while you sleep? Does it grow with repetition instead of exhaustion? If the answer is no, it's not leverage. The system teaches you to optimize effort. Leverage rewards you for design. Effort asks, how hard can I work? Design asks, how little can this require once built? That mindset shift is everything. And here's the part most people don't want to hear. At first, leverage pays worse than effort. That's why people quit. The early phase is asymmetric, more thinking, less reward, which feels wrong to people trained on hourly logic. But once the curve flips, it flips permanently. That's why the system discourages long-term thinking. It wants you addicted to immediate feedback. Leverage delays gratification. The system feeds it. Now let's address the lie that stops most people. I don't have time. That's not true. You have time. You just don't have priority separation. Your energy is fully allocated to survival and recovery. Work drains you. Distraction numbs you. Rest barely restores you. So the idea of building feels overwhelming. That's not because you're weak. It's because the system consumes 100% of your output and gives you just enough back to function. That's intentional. The solution is not more discipline. It's containment of effort. You don't need hours. You need consistency. 30 focused minutes a day, directed toward leverage, compounds faster than 10 distracted hours on the weekend. The system wants you to believe leverage requires massive upfront sacrifice. It doesn't. It requires precision. Most people fail because they try to escape loudly, they announce, they commit publicly, they set unrealistic expectations, then when reality doesn't match fantasy, they retreat. Quiet builders don't do that. They move invisibly. They build before they believe. They stack reps instead of motivation. They let results create confidence, not the other way around, and slowly something changes. Your job starts feeling optional. Your fear decreases. Your patience increases. Not because life got easier, but because your dependency decreased. Dependency is the real prison. Not work, not effort, not structure. Dependency. The moment you can say, I don't need this without panic, you've already won. You may not be free yet, but you're no longer trapped. That's the goal of this phase. Not escape. Optionality. Once you have optionality, your behavior changes. You negotiate differently. You think longer term. You stop reacting emotionally. And the system loses its leverage over you because systems only control people who need them. This is why the exit is gradual. You don't flip a switch. You shift balance. More leverage, less dependence, more ownership, less permission, more creation, less consumption. That's it. There is no secret move, no hidden trick. Just a direction most people never commit to long enough. And the final thing you need to understand is this. The system doesn't stop you from building leverage. It just makes sure it feels lonely at first. No applause, no roadmap, no certainty. That loneliness filters people out. But if you can sit in it quietly, without needing validation, you pass the test. Because the system doesn't block exits. It waits for you to give up, and most people do. If you don't, the training breaks, not all at once, but permanently.